Making headlines tonight. The new health minister speaks about some of his plans for the first time and identifies tackling the nurse shortage as a priority. Prime Minister Mottley receives another international award. Another major infrastructural project being planned for the south of the island. And coming up in sports, the Kiwis are first to qualify for the World Cup semi-finals.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. The new health minister is on the job and has revealed plans to address the concerns facing healthcare in Barbados. Chief among them, the nurses' shortage and issues facing these healthcare professionals. Senator Dr. the Honourable Jerome Walcott spoke to Shane Seeley on the sidelines of the pinning and recognition ceremony for nurses graduating from the postgraduate diploma in pediatric nursing and Masters of Science nursing programs. This is the first cohort of nurses to graduate from the UWI Cave Hill Nursing Program, a partnership with the Shaw Centre for Pediatric Excellence. Dr. Walcott says this is the beginning of an overall plan to offer better opportunities for nurses to be trained in specialty areas to meet local, regional and international demand. The health minister has also outlined plans to improve conditions and salary for trained nurses.
We have to ensure that we train the adequate numbers. We have to make it attractive, not only at the student level, but certainly for nurses to have opportunities for postgraduate training. We have to look at the conditions. In 2018, our manifesto pledge as always was to look at the specialist nursing, and this fits nicely into this. That government would endeavour to give them increasing days on their specialization, recognizing that previously within the QH, for example, you move forward, you had to come out of the clinical stream and go into administration in order to get mobility to become a senior sister and a nursing administrator. We are saying that nurses should be able to stay in the specialties, the areas that they like, and be able to progress upwardly as it relates to their salaries.
The health minister also says the stipend for student nurses will be reintroduced. It's one of the urgent issues Dr. Walcott intends to address as he prepares to meet with the Barbados Nurses Association.
The government is committed to nursing development and to their professional development. And I mentioned then earlier that we are committed and will shortly be reintroducing the stipend for student nurses. And we have partnered with the Shaw Foundation and also with UWI in terms of bringing forward this nurses program. So in that aspect, certainly there's a commitment to HR development within the nursing field. The president of the Nurses Association has already approached me seeking to have an audience. I know that there are a number of matters that they have been raising over the past few years, and we intend to have a meeting with them probably before the end of this month to get an idea of their issues.
Prime Minister Mottley has been recognized by the United Nations Foundation for her leadership in fighting for a just, equitable and sustainable world. She has been named a champion for global change. Prime Minister Mottley was presented with the award during the 2022 Global Leadership Awards in New York. Other awardees included social activist and actor Forrest Whitaker and climate change justice activist Mia Kami, who were presented with the SDG Vanguard Award. Ms. Mottley says the recognition is not only on her behalf, but for the people of Barbados and other small island developing states.
Our battle is real, and I've just been able to give expression to what our people face and what we need to change in order to be able to build a platform for prosperity and to build a platform that focuses on justice and fair play, and recognizing that alone we may not all make it, but together we can certainly go much further.
Ms. Mottley adds there's too much at stake, and more so than ever, the world needs multilateralism.
The reality is that the world is at a very uncertain stage. A lot of people are holding on to what they can because there's so much around them that they cannot control. And they're worried and they're anxious for their future, and I get it. And we're trying to be able, therefore, to see how we can make life easier for them and to be able to allow them to sleep easy at night. But it's difficult with the triple crisis or even polycrisis moment that we're facing, because it's more than 3 crises when you really look at it.
Another major capital project is coming in the south of Barbados. Senior Minister with responsibility for coordinating infrastructural projects, William Duguid, made the revelation on the site where the Hotel Indigo is being built. During his visit, we were also told about efforts to ensure any archaeological finds are preserved during the hotel's construction. Crystal Hoyt has the details.
Just over a month after the groundbreaking, construction is underway at Hotel Indigo in Hastings, Christchurch. Senior Minister with responsibility for coordinating infrastructural projects, William Duguid, visited the construction site as work commenced.
They've started the piling today, which is the first major part of the construction here in Hastings. And what they're using is a new kind of piling technique. So rather than actually driving piles into the ground, they drill a hole into the surface and then insert a cage and then pour concrete into that, and they use that for piling. I understand they're doing about 120 odd here. So it'll take about 6 weeks, but it is very important because it preserves the integrity of all the buildings around as well. And simultaneously, we can check from an archaeological point of view to see if there are any strata underneath that would be of archaeological significance.
Deputy Director of Barbados' Museum and Historical Society, Kevin Farmer, was also on site.
In keeping with the planning process is to carry out what we call a watching brief. So as excavation is ongoing, just to see if there's any archaeological material being unearthed, and if that does occur, we will then stop work, excavate that archaeological material so that work can continue. But what the archaeological material will help us to understand is have a better sense and understanding of our history. The probability for a site like this on the coast is that you're perhaps looking at materials speaking to our Amerindian past as well as our historic past.
Project manager James Edgell says if all goes to plan, the multi-million-dollar hotel should be completed in November 2024. But already, it's providing jobs.
During construction, there will be in excess of 250 people employed, and on completion of the hotel, we expect employment of about 100 persons.
Minister Duguid has described it as a positive for Barbados' economy, while also revealing a $120 million investment project is also about to begin.
Just across the road at the former IDB building, which will be another large investment, which will be retail, condominiums, and the underground car park as well. So I'm really excited about the developments that I'm seeing here along Highway 7.
According to him, these capital projects are important as Barbados seeks to grow its economy. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Many Barbadians will be asking what is the next step for the Constitutional Reform Commission after its final public meeting Sunday. That meeting will take place at 5 p.m. at the Dighton Griffiths Secondary School. Here to tell us how the CRC will move forward and achieve its mandate is Commission member Chris De Kiwis. Good night, Mr. De Kiwis.
Good night, Wendy. Thank you. The Commission has already started and has received several submissions already, but we've moved in the last few weeks to the Town Hall meeting section, and we've had 2 of them at a general level, and we will complete that general sort of interaction on Sunday at Dighton Griffith, and then we'll move into themes which will be more specific topics, broadly based on the existing constitution by chapter. So we'll deal with citizenship, the charter, different things, so that people have a more specific view on those matters and come and discuss in a lot more detail.
Now, what are the aims of these sessions? What do we expect to achieve by the end?
Well, the overall aim is to get as much information from the public and the wider diaspora in terms of what people would like to see in a revised constitution. What are the things that they're worried about or they think should be included? And the more we can get out into the public and get those concerns and issues and submissions we can then sort of consider them and see which ones make sense to put into the Constitution. Obviously, there are going to be conflicting views, and at some point we will sit down and try to debate and find a way through a rather intricate maze of different views. But that will come as after we've listened to everyone and we've heard what everyone has to say. So the initial stage is really to hear people and to engage with them in terms of what they would like to see, what are some of the issues they have. And the town hall meetings provide one way of doing it. But we also have many other ways. We have a website that has a lot of information beginning to be put on there. And then we have the social media platforms where we're connecting with a different level of audience. The town hall meetings perhaps hits a different demographic. So we're going wider into the community as far as we can.
Now, what about specific stakeholder meetings?
Yes, there are obviously a number of very specific organizations and entities. The Bar Association, for example, the Defense Force, all of them have very specific views on the Constitution. So we've written to a vast number of organizations for their specific suggestions or recommendations, and we will meet with as many as we need to meet with to thrash them out and get a better understanding. So we will pick up on a lot of information as we go forward, and we've recruited quite a number of research assistants, both graduates and students, that will help the commissioners to not only research the information coming forward, but to go wider into the world in terms of other constitutions to see what are some of the other topics that may be worth looking at as we look at our own constitution.
Okay, well, it is a big undertaking, so it's good to know there's additional manpower. Now, what about the submissions that will send by email? Where do I need to log on and send my submission to you?
Well, there are a number of ways. You can do it by a hotline. We can do it by the website. You can do it by email. We can do it by Twitter, Instagram. There's a variety of opportunities to submit, and all of them will be collated and put forward to the commissioners. So we will see all the submissions as they come in and engage with the public as we go forward and have the discussions both in the general sessions and in the thematic sessions, which will start later this month.
Okay, I want to thank you so much, and I wish you all the best as you continue on this very important journey for our republic. That's Mr. Sports the Kiwis, one of the members of the commission. Coming up after the break, the NUPW responds to reports SSA workers have left to join Caswell Franklin's Unity Workers Union. Head of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklin, is this evening dismissing suggestions his union is secretly attempting to recruit Sanitation Service Authority workers. This after over 50 SSA workers joined the UWU, citing the National Union of Public Workers' failure to satisfactorily represent their interests in a number of grievances. Mr. Franklin tells CBC News he merely responded to an appeal from the SSA workers for help.
I didn't go anywhere and ask anybody to come and join you. They were frustrated about the way they were being treated by the union and Sanitation Service Authority, and they decided that they're going to leave. And they asked me if I would assist, and I would come and I would help them. Of course, I am not going to tell them no. It is not in my best interest or theirs. So to say no to them, then they have a legitimate right to join any union of their choice, unless that recruits people in that category. For instance, they couldn't go to the teachers union, they couldn't go to the nurses association, they couldn't go to any of those because they're not there. I recruit people who are employed on a contract of service in Barbados.
Meanwhile, President of the NUPW, Kimberly Agard, tells CBC News while there are reports of SSA workers leaving the union, it is still yet to be verified. She says even this is the case, the NUPW still remains the lead representative body for SSA workers, having secured the membership of the majority.
We have not seen this mass exodus. We have heard a number being told to the boat. Mr. Franklin would have said he has 51 members, but UPW would have had plenty more members record as being part of the Sanitation Service Authority Division. So as it relates to mass exodus, we cannot say that because everyone who may have joined whether Caswell's Union may not have been already members of AUPW, but we can say that AUPWA, we service the vast majority of the workers at the Sanitation Service Authority.
Heavy rains over the northern part of Barbados today turned some St. Peter roads into streams. Motorists were forced to exercise caution along this section of Mullins as the water sought a pathway towards the sea. The Met Office had earlier in the day issued a flood watch. They've since extended that watch until 6 a.m. tomorrow as unstable conditions continue to affect the island. Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams has lauded the work of the National Council on Substance Abuse for its annual Project Soft Transitional Camp initiative for 11 and 12-year-olds. He has also urged the young people taking part in the initiative to be wary of the choices they make at this stage of their lives, the type of company they keep, and the consequences of their actions.
I think Project Soft is an amazing idea. It's a wonderful camp. It catches young people right at the point in time when they're discovering themselves. We all know what it's like to be 11 and 12. And you're transitioning from being a child to being a teenager and a young adult. This is the time when children get curious. This is the time when children start to push the boundaries. So it is critical that we catch them at this time to start to teach them it is all right to say no. To start to teach them and drive home the message that life is about choices. To teach them that you cannot control something somebody else does, but you can always control what it is that you do. How to go from being a child.
Mr. Abrams made the comment as he had the opportunity to address the young people on the second day of the camp, and also to engage with them and answer their questions. During the visit, he also shared personal stories about life-changing choices he had to make as a child and young adult, his first time at school, and his first foray into the world of work. Meanwhile, Deputy Manager of the NCSA, Troy Wickham, says the Project Soft initiative is now in its 20th year and has been achieving the desired results of positively impacting the mostly at-risk young people who pass through it. He says the sessions are catered to include education and input from both the children and their parents and guardians.
We have been seeing success. Parents. We have parents who have been in contact from, who are still in contact with us, who was in the first Project Soft. They have seen behavior changes with their children who actually attended the camp. Word of mouth, they tell everyone. Actually, we had a parent in the interview only last week praising Project Soft and the value of Project Soft, and they would encourage the wider community of persons who have students who will be sitting common entrance exam next year. If they do have a common entrance to enroll in the camp. We are safe. We have well-trained staff. We have psychologists. We have social workers on board. We have professional dancers, professional artists on board. So we are well equipped to handle the job.
3 students pursuing studies in tourism and hospitality-related areas have received financial assistance from the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association. The BHTA Tourism Development Scholarship Program, which provides assistance and opportunities to Barbadian nationals, was the brainchild of former chairman of the association, Mr. Sunil Chatrani. With a value of $10,000, these scholarships were awarded by the BHTA in collaboration with the Jean and Norma Holder Hospitality Institute and the Barbados Community College to students with a minimum GPA of 3.0. Speaking at the presentation, BHTA Chairman Rene Coppin said they want to develop the best in the industry and keep standards high.
Make sure that you continue to excel and to deliver to yourselves and to this country and the various institutions and businesses you may go into to work or to yourselves own the highest level of service and the highest level of professionalism, and to ensure that you're always the best and the brightest that this country has to offer.
BCC Principal Annette Allen said the partnership was formed in May and they want to retain the brightest and the best.
This partnership allows the BHTA to offer industry expertise and practical knowledge in both the orientation and ongoing delivery of the curriculum to support the students' development. And that quotation comes directly from our report that we prepared that we produced at the end of the collaboration exercise.
The recipients are Anna Melissa Roach, who is pursuing an associate degree in applied science culinary arts, Hannah Benjamin, who is pursuing an associate degree in applied science hospitality studies, and Chrisana Williams, who is pursuing an associate degree in applied science and tourism travel. The funds will cover books, petty fees, and uniforms. Sports time now with Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Good evening to you. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Well, West Indies Masters registered their first victory of the BMC Over 50s Caribbean Cup with a 2-wicket win over India Masters today. Sent into bat at the BNOC ground in St. Philip, India Masters scored 130 for 8 off their 45 overs. Captain Iqbal Khan top scored with 37 and Fakar Dungara 30. While captain of the Windies Masters side, Zamin Amin, took 3 for 14 from his 9 overs. In reply, William Lashley with 33 and Rajendra Managali 32 guided West Indies Masters to 131 for 8 in 41.5 overs. Dipesh Kumar finished with 3 for 17 in that losing effort. Now, both teams have 2 points with 1 win and 1 defeat. The USA, they top the group. That's Group A with 4 points after 2-0 start.
Now for a look at business. Barbados' telecom sector is still very attractive to mobile providers, with more companies looking to set up shop here. While not disclosing the names of the players, the minister responsible for the sector, Davidson Ishmael, says many are seeking licenses.
There's a lot of interest within the Barbados market. Barbados continues to be a very attractive market for not only telecoms companies, but for a lot of various companies in the technology space, in the science space, in the industry space. So we have a lot of interest and a lot of persons who have sought to set up their operations in Barbados for different reasons in different fields. There are companies that have already sought various licenses to operate in the telecom space in Barbados, and I would say that there is one player in particular that has gone through quite a significant number of the levels of the process to be able to get to the place where they can offer services to Barbados in the telecom space very soon as well. I would not be able to speak to how soon, but I know that they have already made significant inroads into that process. And I'm sure that when they're ready, they will make their relevant communications to the people of Barbados.
At least one St. Philip farmer is reporting a bountiful harvest of pumpkins just in time for independence. Pumpkins are a very key ingredient in many local treats such as conkeys and pumpkin fritters, among other things. Owner of Bluebird Acres, Sharia Brathwaite, is welcoming the yields as some of her other crops were wiped out by the recent rains.
Some of the young plants, they would have caught mildew. Some of the blossoms and the leaves would have been affected as well. So that had a significant impact on the yields. However, I would say that I harvested over 500 pounds. And given that I am a small farmer on a half-acre plot, that to me was a good output this year for me.
Mindful of the economic situation, the young farmer has been working with customers to meet their budgets and ensure they can get their desired quantities of pumpkin.
Not everybody wants a large pumpkin. You know, some people have small families, and you know, some people are being impacted by the financial difficulties at this time. So some people may want a small pumpkin. Obviously, I would not have an abundance of small pumpkins because of the sheer size of what the ground produced. So what I have done, I cut them out in some large slices, and I would sell those to those persons who, you know, may just want a little piece here, a little piece there.
Time now for more sports with Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Well, the Barbados men's team at the FIBA 3-on-3 AmeriCup 2022 in Miami concluded their qualifying draw B with a 2-1 record. however, did not advance to the main draw. In their 2 games today, the team of Rashid Maynard, Devron Knight and Deronay Hurley, along with Joel Hunt, defeated Jamaica 19-18 and won by default over Colombia, but lost to St. Lucia 17-16. As a result, Barbados finished second behind St. Lucia, who had a perfect 3-0 record. The Barbados women's team begin their campaign tomorrow morning versus Trinidad and Tobago in their qualifying group. We wish them all the very best. Well, Ashmini Mansour has been named as captain of the 15-member West Indies women's under-19 squad for the upcoming tour of India. The players for the T20 matches were selected after 12 matches in Trinidad and Tobago. Mansour is an all-rounder who led the team when West Indies under-19s played against USA women's under-19 in Fort Lauderdale back in August. Her vice-captain is Barbadian Trishan Holder, who is a top-order batter and a member of the Barbados team at the recent Commonwealth Games. The 2 other Bajans on the squad are Sabi Calendar and Najani Kamobach. The full squad reads Mansour, Holder, Calendar, Kanisha Kasara, Jazara Claxton, Kamobach, Janilia Glasgow, Realina Grimon, Zadia James, Dajiba Joseph, Dejaz Mitchell, Selani Samaru, Chanel Saw, Lena Scott and Kate Wilmot. They will be under the guidance of head coach Steve Leibert and Barbadian Jamal Smith. The upcoming tour will feature women's under-19 matches against India A, India B, Sri Lanka and New Zealand, forming a crucial part of the team's preparations for the inaugural ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup 2023 from January 14th to 29th in South Africa.
That's our news. Good night.
Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.